Is elderberry wine poisonous? The history of elderberry wine dates back hundreds or even possibly thousands of years. The proper name for the elderberry is Sambucus, and there are more than 20 different species. They can be found in gardens and also growing wild in hedgerows in parts of Europe and here in the UK. The elderberry is still a very popular berry to ferment into wine and is even called the poor man's grape, due to the fact that it's easier to grow than red grapes in cooler climates. They also produce a rich, dark, deep red colour. But are they dangerous? Well, certainly the stems, leaves and branches contain something called cyanogenic glycosides, which can release cyanide when broken down. Cyanide, of course, is very toxic if we consume it. Cyanide can also be found in cherry stones, apple pips and plum stones, which is why we should avoid eating the stones of fruits. But what about the elderberry fruit? Do they contain toxins? And the answer is, yes they do, especially if they're not fully ripened. Green or half-ripe elderberries will contain cyanogenic glycosides, which can release cyanide if we eat or drink the raw fruit juice. I think it's quite difficult to collect perfectly ripe elderberries, as they all seem to ripen at different times, as you can see here when I was collecting some. And then, when I put them in a bowl and looked closely, I could see that there are definitely some unripened elderberries in amongst the nice dark ripe ones. So how do we use elderberries safely for making juice? Well, the advice is to always cook or boil the berries for about 20 minutes or more, which will eliminate or boil off the toxins, making them safe. Even with fully ripe berries, there are traces of toxins which may affect some people who consume them raw. The symptoms are varied and can include stomach cramps, diarrhea, vomiting and feeling tired and weak. If a very high amount is consumed, then the effects can be quite serious. But what if we ferment the elderberries into wine? During the fermentation process, the amount of cyanogenic glycosides is reduced, and also the potential for cyanide to be released. If you're considering boiling, then simmering the berries to kill off any bacteria or wild yeast, then any toxin should also be removed anyway. It's also worth remembering that there are many varieties of elderberry, and some are more toxic than others. So, if you have any concerns about elderberries being toxic, you can boil them first and then ferment them into a lovely glass of tasty elderberry wine. Cheers!